new day is dawning. New ideas, new rules, new management.
We've known each other since we were 9 or 10.
I really, before we jump into this, I really wanted to thank you. This has been a joy. I really, just not just like professionally, I'm a fan of yours, but just as a person, you're a very nice guy, and I appreciate the time.
Oh,
And
don't spread that around. I'll never get another job.
I know, right? It's weird you have to be an asshole in this sometimes.
That's the old cone we used to say. Why are directors assholes? Because they have to be.
Well, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I don't know. It goes up and down. I have my moments.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, I remember first meeting you, and I just like that you seemed so grounded, and you didn't seem to be in about the bullshit, and you didn't seem to fake it, and I've always respected that.
You get older, you don't. It's just where you want to spend your time.
Mhm.
You realize what's worth fighting for, what's not. You know,
Yeah.
like without other people, this place would be boring, right? So
Exactly.
you got to sort it. Like, look, if the price to pay is being patient or understanding, or I don't know, figure out the intellectual deciphering of interpersonal relationships. If that's the cost to direct and do your thing, I mean, that just directing's not a, you know, they always used to say like art is a solitary endeavor, right? You create art alone. That is true. The ideas come there, and most of the thing, like, it's weird. I spend my days alone, surrounded by people, because you're in your own head. But like, that's great. But you know, if I was a singer or a painter or a writer, it'd be awesome, because it's just me to the paper, me to the voice, me to the instrument.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, honestly, even if you're on a low budget independent thing, there's at least a few dozen people that you have to deal with. Like, there's no way around creating a film by yourself. It just can't happen. So if you can't somehow figure out and navigate through other people's mindsets or their creative limitations or capabilities, if you can't get through the bullshit, you know, you're not going to make it as a director. I've seen a lot of talented people not be able to. I mean, director is part like leadership, right? It's part interpersonal skills, managerial skills. You know, what does Orson Welles say? You're the director of the happy accidents. Like, you have to take the organic nature. You can't be this militant dictator that goes, this is my head, this is the storyboard, this is what's happening. That's not how you get people's best work. And I know there's some really successful directors that are fairly strict with their vision and their board. I don't know how that happens. Like, when you're dealing with so much of, I guess, personal skills, like in choreography and stunts, I come from an athletic background.
Yeah.
And sometimes the people I work with are far more talented than I ever was or I am. So like Donnie Yen's a great example. Like, I can start the choreography, I can start the ideas. I know I'm going to do it on the staircase. I know I'm going to do it in the crowd. I know I'm going to do it like, but then the details, I'm not Donnie Yen. Like, he's one of the best in the world. So you have to go and you have to have those conversations, and you have to put ego aside, and you have to figure out how to him to let down his guard and how to build trust, so he will give you his best work, so he will not be afraid to try ideas. You have to be at a point, like, if you and I are riffing together, you should be able to say, yeah, I want to do, John Wick in space. And like, you got to know that if I laugh, I'm laughing with you. I'm not at you. It's like, yeah, then they'll be on a rocket ship and we'll shoot it. Like, you got to push the boundaries in order to rein it back in. But if I just look at you, fuck, James, that's stupid. What the fuck are you thinking, man? That's not my vision. Like, are you going to give me the next idea? You know, I was fortunate enough to come up with 3 careers before I directed. I was a stuntman, a stunt coordinator, and a second unit director.
Yeah.
So I had the benefit that very few directors had, is I worked for 100 directors before I directed. Literally.
Wow.
So imagine that. I mean, most directors work, what? You're an assistant, you're like, something for like one show, or maybe a writer, then you direct. You're interacting with very, very few directors. So you're not mimicking anybody. I've worked for a few, put it this way, the majority of people I've worked for have been very good, although very different styles, very good people, very smart people. That's good. And then there's the other few that, challenge you a little bit.
Yeah.
But like, you learn lessons from both. So I guess before I even stepped behind camera, you'd already seen what helps with success. And that's whether you like the process, whether you like the bullshit, the bullshit is there. So you can fight it and call it bullshit and rag on it and use that as an excuse, or like, look, man, I want to direct. If the price to pay is that, like, again, like, you know, I think we've talked about before, the question when you direct is never what I want.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the idea. The true question is, how much am I willing to suffer to get it? Like, what's the hit? Okay, if I want to direct, that means I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to have to put private life on the side. If I want to be a successful director, I have to put the audience first. I have to get my minds. I have to fight for what I love. I have to fight for my lead. I have to get everyone on the same page. I can't just be the dictator. I can't be the militant, you know, creative. That's you do it my way. Like, you have to navigate that. You still have to make it your way. You still have to be that inside. But some people, it's more honey than any, you know, some people it's a little bit of discipline. Some people it's me being a little kabuki theater aggro. Sometimes, like, I got to put on the different hats somehow to get the best out of people. And if you can learn that, I think that's the real fascinating part. Because at the end of the day, everybody wants to make a great movie. Yeah. And if you get great people, but like great people come with their own, like I come with my own instruction manual. Like, you know, I'm not Chad for everybody. I'm sure you're not James for everybody. And, you know, it's the same with the cast. So you have to put ego over here for a sec and not lose sight of what you want. You don't want to bend. You don't want to, you know, compromise and all that stuff. But you do have to work with people and collaborate. And I don't ever assume collaboration is compromising. I get it. Like, there are times where I'm like, fuck, I'm out of money, I'm out of time. Like, but that's still not, okay, I'm not getting what I thought of, but that doesn't mean I can't get something better. Yeah. Like, you can't narrow yourself into that box. And the other thing is, like, when you're in the industry, like, there's always this divide, you know, director, crew, or creative, studio, money, art. Like, yeah, like, if you don't know that going in, I don't know. You know, like that, you know, that's like the Titanic and the iceberg. I see the fucking iceberg. So you can't bitch about the iceberg if you don't see it. Like, you know, I'm driving to the ice. You have to accept that there's going to be obstacles. So if you just worry about your vision and look through the eyepiece and not deal with that, I think our success, or at least our team's success and our crew's success, is that we take that into the formula. I know I'm going to get bullshit. I know I'm going to deal with people. If everybody could see what's in my head, I wouldn't have a job. Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not supposed to get that. Like, it's my job to fucking fight every inch of the way, every minute of the day, to get people to agree and to trust me in mine. It took, I mean, literally 3 movies. You know how many times, every time I've had a fight for John Wick, every time people read the scripts and go, what are you thinking? He's on like, the horseback chase was not an easy sell in the last one. Killing a puppy was not an easy sell. Like, having one of my lead actresses in number 2 slit her wrists and John Wick shoot her in the head. These are not easy sells. You just gotta, like, they don't see it in my head. They hear it and they go, oh God, that's horrible. But then they don't get how I'm gonna wind it in my head. So yeah, you have to accept that and go, all right, well, I'm just not gonna quit. I'll outlast you.
Well, I mean, did that get easier with this film? Because, I mean, I feel like this is a movie you really wanted to make. It feels like every shot is it needs to be there. Everything just fucking works.
Yeah, I would say in the beginning, no. I mean, no. I mean, all love to the studio and stuff. But, like, again, I mean, think about it. I'm on paper. You read the script, you get to, you know, 132, which is already a pretty meaty script. Yeah. And John Wick dies. Like, you don't think I got phone calls, you know, an hour after they finished that script? Like, you know, let me get this straight. You're going to shoot all this money. You need this, you know, 5 countries. Like, they just go into the formula. Yeah. Yeah. That's going to be too much. It's too long of a script. It's not making sense. What is Shamir doing? What is this guy doing? Why is Donnie doing? Like, what daughters? Why do we have so many daughters? We don't need the desert scene. That's non sequitur. Come on, you don't need this. Why do you have another? Like, you have 14 actions. We don't need those. Always that way. But, like, again, that's, you know, I could be one of those guys that bitches and moans about, you know, the fucking studio. Like, look, the studio, at the end of the day, they backed me. At the end of the day, they wrote the check. At the end of the day, when they saw the finished product, you know, with the effect, they're like, oh, fuck, we get it now. And they all, to the individual, went, oh, fuck, that's what the Top Shot's supposed to look like. Because without the VFX, without the color, it just looks like a regular, no big deal, right? You know, what I see.
I was the black sheep of the family.
Man has to look his best when it's time to get married. Or buried.
I'm going to need a gun.
Goodbye, my friend, it's hard to
when they see it. But again, you have to realize that that's the gig, man. Like, they're not supposed to see it. Like, once in a while you get that producer, like, they trust in me. They trust in that, okay, I don't see it, but I trust in that you're going to deliver, right?
Yeah.
Like, when I'm talking to my composer, like Tyler Bates or Joe Richardson, I'm like, God, it's like Doom, but it's not. But it's Sergio Lodin, it's a Spanish guitar. If I told you to go write that piece, would you know what the fuck I was talking about?
No clue.
Kooky director guys, and they're looking at me like, is that 4/4 time or is that halftime? Like, what the fuck? Is that in, E minor? Like, what are you talking about, dude? But I'm talking about a feeling. So like, you have to understand that. Like, I go to my department heads and go, that's not it. I don't know how to explain it, but I'll know it when I see it. Like, and that's literally what the studio's going back to me, or other people like financiers or anything. They're like, this isn't a paint by numbers action movie. Nope. It's Greek mythology and modern day fantasy. No orcs, no trolls, but I'm going to have faceless bad guys. I'm going to have dogs, bright crotches. And they're looking at me like, no, we're not giving you, X amount of dollars for that. I'm like, so you have to build trust,
Wow.
and at the end of the day, it comes down to, like they, you deliver an action movie. That two record, our longest one was like 2:03 or something on number 2. Number 3 was actually shorter than number 2. And then you deliver, you go from 2 hours to delivering a 2 hour and 40-minute one. Like, of course, you don't think there's going to be pushback, even though I'm the most friendly. If they didn't push back, they'd lose their job.
Yeah.
Like, that could bomb the movie if I was just mindlessly putting out there. My point is, if you don't have the B side, you can't have the, like, there's got to be a dynamic tension. And that's not always antagonism, but there's no way around it. For every John Wick where I bitch about, getting behind me, there's, 900 other things out there that aren't so good. So, you know what I mean? Like, they have to do their due diligence, and you have to accept that. And what I guess the big point of this droll is that, like, you have to acknowledge the bullshit, and you have to engage. Like, you can't just if I know what everything costs in my movie. I came up through second unit where I had to budget my units myself. Wow. I could tell you what a technocrane costs. I know what a DI intermediate guy, a DIT technician costs. I know what certain lenses cost. I know what a wardrobe PA costs. I know what an additional AD costs. I know what 3 other C stands cost. I just know. Wow. And that's so I can speak the language. If I can't speak producer, like technical or financial, how, like, it's my movie. If I don't understand where to put the money, that could fucking destroy me. Yeah. Some directors just go, I don't want to hear it. Like, that's cool. I get you got to focus on your genius vision and stuff. But, like, I'm not putting my career in somebody else's hands. Like, I don't want and no offense to any of these, but I don't want the storyboard guy directing my movie. I want to work with him and get my vision on it. I don't want the VFX vendor, making my sequence while I'm off shooting. Like, I got to be a part of that. Like, you'd be surprised how many just go and it comes back and the guy okays it or whatever. And you're like, oh, fuck, if I'm not sitting there with the VFX artist, like, wait, that's my sequence. So you only want me to direct like half my movie. The second unit guy does the action. The VFX guy does all the world building. The storyboard guy lines up the blocking. My cinematographer sets the camera. So tell me again, what the fuck am I doing? So in order to do all those other roles and have intelligent conversations with some of the best people in the industry, from visual effects to cinematographers to studio heads or other creative producers, you have to speak their language. Yeah. So if I'm not shooting, like right now, I got to be working on. I got to make myself more invested in how to speak that, because I'm only going to be the one that benefits. My point is, acknowledge the bullshit, understand the bullshit, fucking speak bullshit, and fucking it's not going to go away. So use it, man. You got to use the iceberg, man. Don't let it sink your ship, but fucking use it, because otherwise you're just a victim. And I refuse to let someone else, jeopardize my film.
Well, why do you think the other directors are, like you're in I think you're in a good position in the fact that you know all this stuff. You've been there, you've done the stunts, you've done the work, you've been there behind the camera, you know your shit. What about the guy who is relying on the fucking...
Yeah, no, and you're going to have to do that in the beginning. Of course, if you're new, if you get a shot, you're a 25-year-old director and the most you've been is somebody's assistant for a little bit and you haven't spent a lot of time on set. A couple things. One, you're not supposed to know all the fucking answers. So don't go on with this director hat going. As soon as somebody asks you a question, you bitch them out. Like, James, what the fuck, man? Just do what I asked. Like, that's your ego talking, because you don't want to acknowledge that you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, you feel embarrassed by the fact that you think you should know, and this, higher up person that's been on set 200 times is asking a question, and you get embarrassed by the fact that you don't know the answer. Like that goes to the old adage: if you don't know what you don't know, how are you supposed to learn what to know? Like you just gotta go. I get the crew together, first day and go. I'm an idiot. I'm a moron. It's only my fourth film. You have ideas, good, but at the end of the day, I'm the guy that's got to make the decision because I take all the hits. Like if the movie tanks and I get a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes, you're not seeing the producer's name up there, you're not seeing the studio's name up there, you're not seeing that. Guess whose name? Mine and Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
So I take all the hits, so at least I'm going to be responsible for the decisions. So when you see John Wick, that's 97% my decisions. Whether you like the colors, story, cast, any choice in that movie is gone through me. So that's all my fault. That's all the blame on me. Now the creativeness is that's a collaborative effort. But at the end of the day, somebody had to choose between red and blue, and I chose red. Somebody had to choose between this suit and that was me. So if you don't like it, I got to take the hit for it. So you got to go out and go, okay, I don't know what I don't know. Tell me, I'm the decision maker on this. It is a bit of a dictatorship, but at the end of the day, I want everybody's ideas so I can make the best decision possible. And if you are that person that needs all that other help, great. Admit what you don't know, be dumb once, and then you have the answer. Ask the question. James, I'm an idiot. How do you do what you do? Okay, got it. Okay, check that box. Okay, now you go to the next person. I'm sorry, Bob. How do you do what you? Boom, check that box. If I keep denying that I don't know, I'm stupid for much longer.
Yeah, that's fair.
I have the ability as a stunt guy and as a stunt coordinator I didn't have the ego pressure, so I could be ignorant, I could be dumb, and I could ask the questions and learn. When you're stepping on as a director, it's literally being thrown in your face, and you're learning on the job. Just make that peace with every department head. I'm going to make decisions, but I need just help me get there.
Well, I feel like that would prepare you too, because look, I have to say this is you've had an incredible couple weeks here. You kind of bittersweet. You had this. It's currently at 153 worldwide, 153 million.
I haven't checked this week, but yeah, I heard it was good.
It's huge, 94%, both critics and audience in Rotten Tomatoes. But you also lost Lance. That's a lot to fucking deal with, dude. And my condolences to you.
I don't know, you can get any clickbait quote out there about Lance is a beautiful person, but it's a little bit more than that, right? He's part of it. The fact that he couldn't share in the success when you have someone that's worked so hard, he's been with us for almost 9.5 years, I think, since we cast him. And over that time, you get to know him, we were producing another project with him too. So I was dealing with him on a fairly regular basis, not just through John Wick, but at least every other week we were on the phone.
Wow.
We had just seen him in New York.
So he's still involved, but had he filmed his sequence or whatever he's doing with for Ballerina?
Yeah, they wrapped that a while ago. So they again, I had, that's all lensing. We have we weren't really interacting a lot with that. We're so busy with John Wick.
Yeah. But
I haven't actually seen that footage, but I hear it's Lance. He did a great job. So you can't share it. It's great, but I have a very different mentality, coming up with stunts and the way I was brought up and stuff with losing people you care about or love or that are in your world, and take your time, mourn and all that stuff. But I guess I was always raised not to be a victim of mourning. It didn't, I'm affected by it, but at the end of the day, you can't change it.
Yeah, and you still have to go on. You still
have to go on, and how you choose to go on, that's your choice. We always talk about choice, right? Pain is inevitable. Suffering's a choice. So you will take the pain and how you suffer through. Keanu and I come from the same kind of, stoic background, where it's more of a celebratory thing. Yes, of course you're sad. Of course you feel lost. Of course there's that sense of, I will never get to see or talk or feel this person again. But, that shouldn't stop us from celebrating. God, I'm so happy that the movie's well received because that's a tribute to Lance.
Yeah.
So you celebrate the remembrance. I'm just happy that we had time, because it could have been the opposite. You could have lost someone who's good at that. And I don't regret a single moment. I think every time I've talked to Lance, it was either very enjoyable or it was very. Lance is very good at leading by example. So there wasn't a single time that you can remember talking to him that it wasn't a learning experience about just how to be a good human. So that, I think that's the way you have to look at it.
Well, it's funny because I saw it. I went to on my birthday again this weekend. I had to see it in theaters with the fam, and I just the scene with Lance just really.
He's awesome.
Oh my God, he's so good in this. He's so.
Yeah, he's.
You have,
awesome.
dude. You have such a way of casting, and I you know, now Donnie Yen's becoming legendary within this franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, that's. Are you going to use him more? Is he coming back? Is this gonna build? I'm sorry about the Scoopy questions, but I'm just.
No, they're good. I mean, but they're all like, they're very. No, they're good. They're like human questions. Like, it's no different for me than it would be for anything. Yeah, it's a little crazy with the. I mean, this is a new experience for me. It's a new experience for Keanu. We've never, Keanu's had some really big pops, between Matrix and Point Break and stuff. But, John Wick's a whole different thing because I guess it's not just a gig to us. Like, it's from our minds, it's from our hearts. Everything up there is from us or things we love. So it's very, very personal. Look, man, I wish I could just switch off and go, cash grab. This would be great. My retirement's good. Fuck all you guys. I'm going to live in Bahamas. Like, that's cool. But like, it's just, I don't know. My point is, when it comes to casting, I'm not trying to put together some magic algorithm of marketing. Like, I could give a fuck.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to do some diversity checklist, bless that model and stuff. But like, honestly, I wish I could be some kind of, pro-activist model for the rights of everyone. And I do believe in that. It's just, I don't think anything, I signed on to be a director, to be an entertainment guy. Like, I'm not going to change the world with The Godfather Part 5. We know what we want to do. We want to be, entertaining in our action way. I celebrate martial arts. I celebrate that genre of action film. Like, that's where my love is. That's where my head's at. That's who I am as a person. And we've always stayed true to, like, go where we wanted to go what truly interests. Like, I'm not going to Berlin because it's a 34% tax rebate. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, that doesn't suck. But like, I'm going there because I have true interest, because I think it's best for the story. Like, I didn't, cast Donnie Yen to suck up the Chinese market or anything like that. It was because I fucking love watching him. I think he's amazing. Yeah. And in my mind, I closed my eyes. I saw him with Keanu going, I would pay to go see that. And that's all I need to know. I don't want to check it with it. Like, it feels good to me. I just saw Scott Adkins in that character going, this is what I'm, Sammo Hung, Scott Adkins. I'm like, okay, I'm in. That makes sense to me. I told you, I didn't know who Rina Sawayama was. I didn't know she was a pop star. I didn't know she was a singer. I saw an image of her on YouTube one day. And then it took like a week or two of me scrolling down all her videos. And I was fascinated about how she changed look, and she was a dancer. So I'm like, let's try something weird. Like, but there was no rhyme or reason to it other than she just looked like she was right out of an anime. I was like, this is what I want my Osaka to look like. And her and Hiroyuki just made sense to me. My point is, it's just a gut feeling. I wish I could tell you it was some genius, but it's just a gut feeling about people that I think are interesting, about bringing people back. If someone gave me a script and I read it and I couldn't get Donnie Yen out of my head, it wouldn't be like, well, I've had success with Donnie, let's bring him back. Like, it's more like, does it fit? Do I see him? Is it respectful of him? Meaning, I know Donnie now, so I know how much meat he likes on it. Like, this guy loves to take something and make it his. Like, he's got a very Keanu. He's very, very aggressive with story, and like, okay, if it's just calling me because I can kick and punch, like, he's like, I kind of done a few of those. So how do I? Now you're talking about a guy that did SPL and then he did Flashpoint. Like, he's done more fight scenes than probably entire stunt communities have done combined. Like, that's, so if there's something, challenging there for him that I think he's gonna knock out the park, yeah, cool. But like, it's not, you don't try and force fit anything. You don't. I've tried that a few times amongst the John Wicks. Every time I've tried to force something, it's always blown up in my face. I'm going, we'll do that again. You just kind of like go with your gut, man. That's all I can say.
If you win, you'll have your freedom.
And when I see you, I'ma take what I want, so.
Amen.
Yeah. You ain't real, hold ya. Y'all feel the wrath of Yellow.
What were some of the moments that you had? You're like, okay, yeah, no, we're not doing that again.
Well, when you're directing, like, when you're trying to, like, John Wick wasn't always this tone, right? You can see the tonal shift throughout the movies. One's a lot more grounded, and three's whatever, force batshit crazy, right? It's like, whoa, what are we doing here? There's no police. People are falling off. He's indestructible. Yeah, I mean, we did that on purpose because I get bored with the same thing. I mean, to the critics out there, I can go and make the same movie 4 times. That'd be way fucking easier. I can do. Why do you think no one else does bulletproof suits? Why does everybody get bored with all the other French out there? I did it so I could expand the choreography. So I can do cooler stuff. If I take away those bulletproof suits, yeah, like it's gonna be stuff you've already seen. Like I'm doing it to try and do different things to keep subversing, giving subversion to what you're expecting, right? So you're trying to do that. Otherwise, you get bored. You guys, you get bored, right? So like, we tried to keep it grounded. Like I went into number 2 going, I'm gonna keep it a little bit more grounded. And I started doing a few of the scenes, and I'm like, me and Cal, what are we doing? We've already seen this movie. Like, what are we doing? Because I had that idea of the rock opera going on in Rome and all that stuff. We're like, look, we're gonna go, and we know the dancers are going. I get it. We get it. Find everybody react and clear out. Okay, you've already got that in Collateral. We've seen that scene. You got it in every club scene. Yes, to react, but in our world, fuck it, man. Everybody's zoned out, man. It's the world. So like, again, I fought what I wanted to do with keeping a tonal shift very, when you do your second one, you're like, well, the first one works so good. Let's stay to that. We don't want to go too far off the first one.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't, again, you remake the same movie, and there's plenty of franchises that, I could list them for you that just, it's the same thing, same movie, same 3.1 fight scenes, 1 car chase. Okay, and the villain gets away again. Then we insert love interest. Okay, insert betrayal. I get it. We just didn't want to follow that route. And, we hadn't really, it's just one little movie. So when you're doing number 2, you're thinking, oh, stick to what works. That's not what it was in the first one. What was this guy getting a little kooky? Maybe the first one was an accident. You're doing all that stuff. And I don't know, we got a couple weeks in, and then Keanu and I went and had a little talk going, yeah, no, this is like, let it just, his advice was like that, just let it go, like do what you feel. And then that's how we started, once you take those limitations off, you're like, I'm not doing the first movie again. And it's always like, I wanted to bring back other characters. I wanted to, we have this thing, it's nothing against other casts, but like, if Halle Berry's character ever came back, if Common's character ever came back, great. Mark Dacascos was resurrected. Like, these are all great characters. Love them all. Like David Patrick Kelly character as Charlie in the first movie, or Stahelski's character as Jimmy the cop. Yeah, I fucking love TikTok, Sudoku, like all these guys, man. Awesome. Hopefully we'll get a TV show going where I can bring them all back. But if I kept doing that, I don't give room to grow. And again, like we talked about, most people try to make sure they don't paint themselves into a corner. We purposely, in the first part of the scene, paint ourselves into a corner. And it's a mandate with my stunt team. It's a mandate with my writers that you paint me into a corner. It is a mandate that we do not know how to solve this problem. Because the solution or the answer is what's going to get you guys fun. That's what gets the audience going. Because they know, oh fuck, how's he going to get out of this? And if I give you a trope answer that you've seen 3 times that week on streaming, you're not going to clap for me. But if I show you that top shot, if I show you that staircase fall, yeah, you're going to go, I haven't seen that this week on Netflix. Like, that's, so the gig is, I don't know the way out, but I know I have a smart enough team that we're going to figure a way out. Like, that's writing wise, that's plot wise, that's choreography wise. That's the real trick, isn't it? So we kind of embraced that at number 2, and that's kind of how we made the show.
Wow. Well, I got one more question for you. We got to wrap it up, but like, I got to ask, like, how much are you going to be involved in the future world building of this, whether it's Ballerina, whether it's the Continental? How much are you going to be involved? Are you going to stick with the John Wick?
I don't know. That's a good question. Like, it's just, it's the post week here. We'll have talks with the studio. Like, look, if I can stay, I'm like, again, I'm like the weird guy. Like, it's all or nothing for me. So like, look, if we all come to terms, and it's all like everybody with Lionsgate has been amazing on this. Yeah. But like, again, there's been a lot of things in motion before this all happened. So like, they have to do their business. They have to make things happen. They can't wait for me. I'm tied up in a little room trying to make a movie, right?
Yeah.
But I'm being very, incredibly flattered that they've come back saying how much they want to do it. Like, it's very flattering when someone comes back and wants more of what you do. I'm like,
yeah.
Well, we don't know what, but we want to work. that's awesome. You know, that's a great feeling. We'll have a couple talks. I guess in answer to you, like, look, if there's a way to go in and really create, to be the like the godfather to it all, and somehow umbrella the creativity all and get the right people in and keep it. I think the problem is most people think it's a movie. And they try to write a plot. Like everyone pitches me plots of John Wick movies, and I think that would probably be the biggest mistake on all these. They're love letters. I mean, it's a goof, man. I read so many reviews. It's pretty funny. It's supposed to be a goof. It's a goof on action movies. It's a celebration of cinematography meets action, beauty, and violence. And hey, can we keep you entertained for 2 hours? You know, like, so if we could keep that, I'd want to stay very involved, whether it was TV or spin-offs. If they're just, you know, God forbid that they just want to do, you know, cash grabs and riff off the name. But I don't think that's where this group of individuals are going. I think they actually care, and they know that it's a special kind of thing for the audiences, and that we're part of the audience as well. So yeah, I mean, if it can be worked out, I'd love to be part of it. It's awesome. I mean, is it the only thing I want to do? No, there's some other projects I really care about. And again, you know, I don't want to overstay my welcome either. I could be part of the stale problem. Like, you know, it's all been for my head. So I think it would benefit the franchise a great deal if I could somehow get the DNA going in it, or get the start. But like, you know, there's people, you know, there's better directors and smarter people than I am that could hopefully take it to a different level. So that would be exciting.
Well, you're pretty damn good, my friend. So, dude, it's always such a pleasure to talk to you, man. It really is. Thank you for everything. Thank you for spending the time with us.
Of course, man. You just let me know anything.